What's going on, guys? Let me just do a little bit of adjusting. There we go. Set the nice, peaceful mood here. Because we got another week in the NFL coming up. So just real quick, guys. I mean, I'm sorry I wasn't live yesterday with this. Had a little bit of a family emergency. So just my dad's been having some health issues recently. And so I had to go help out with the family business unexpectedly yesterday. So I did everything I could to try and get live here with you guys, but you know what? End of the day, I'm here today. So, guys, we are at week 11 in the NFL. There is only 6 more weeks to go until the end of the NFL season. It's kind of crazy when you really think about it. It feels like just yesterday that things were going down. Oh, so I mean, Daniel, just so you know, and just so you guys can hear it real quick. I mean, he's okay. He's still got a little bit of things to go through, but so basically, I need to help out with some of the more heavy lifting stuff to make it so he doesn't have to so that way he doesn't have to worry about stuff as much. So I want to make sure that my dad can focus on staying healthy. So yeah, it was to help out my mom and my dad. Always going to do that anytime I can. And everybody should do that as long as you've got a decent relationship with your parents. So, anyways, sorry that my friend isn't here with me today. My best friend has been dealing with a couple different things in his life as well. So we're going to roll on with the show, guys. Roll on with the show. So first up, we've got Carolina at Detroit, with Carolina being a -4. All for Carolina. Carolina, -4. Take those points. Carolina are going to put the beating to Detroit. Guarantee it. Because Carolina right now, they're going to come back pissed off from getting their butts kicked last week against Pittsburgh. And they are going to lay the beat down to Detroit. Can almost guarantee it. But real quick, I just wanted to say what's going on. Saban, Tango, Dan Jones, Mr. Exclusive. It's great to see you guys in here. Happy you guys are live. Pancaz, good to see you in here too, man. Happy you're here. But yeah, you guys, Carolina, they're going to come back. They're going to be pissed off. That's pretty cool, Dan. The Carolina Panthers like 2 of Dan's tweets. That's pretty dang cool. Cardinals have never liked one of my tweets, if that makes you feel any better. So, now granted, I also don't tweet at them or anything like that because it's been a little bit of a rough year. So, anyways, we're going to go ahead. We're going to move on. We're going to Dallas at Atlanta. And Atlanta is a -3 favorite. And just in case I haven't really explained this well enough, so just so you guys know, when I say a team is a -3, it means that they are basically, in terms of betting odds, this isn't what goes on in the actual game, they are getting 3 points taken away from them at the start of the game. And it means that basically they would have to win by more than 3 points in order to get the win in terms of betting odds. So just so you know, just wanted to throw it out there. That's all it is. And it makes it so if you guys do choose to bet, you have your bets from me. There you go. Jack, good to see you in here. Andrew, do you do a stream about Andrew? I'm at Pancake. I'm going to be doing a Q&A here. I think either early next week or I might do it tomorrow. I'm going to think about it, but I'm probably going to do it sometime next week just to keep going with the international break feel. Do something fun. Yeah. So, so guys, Atlanta at a -3, and they're at Atlanta. It's a tough place to go play. I'm saying Atlanta's going to take this game. I think they're going to take it pretty easily too. I mean, being only a -3, I mean, Dallas right now is fighting to make the playoffs, but it's the same with Atlanta. And I'm going to say that Atlanta, after kind of taking Cleveland lightly last week, because who would have thought Atlanta would have been losing to Cleveland last week? Kind of crazy. So Atlanta is going to come into this game. They're going to be pissed off, and they are going to take out Dallas. Putting it in, take it Take it to the bank. If you're a betting man, put everything that you have for them that you could possibly spare onto this. They're going to kill it. Absolutely kill it against Dallas. So we're going to move on to our next game, which actually has no line, which tells you a lot about how this game is going to be. So we've got Cincinnati at Baltimore. I don't get how there's not a line for this game, though, because Baltimore is going to go in here. They're going to kick the crap out of Cincinnati. I'm almost willing to guarantee it. Like, Cincinnati is struggling right now, and how Marvin Lewis continues to have a job, somebody explain it to me, because I've got no idea. No idea. Like, it's weird. Jack, do you think putting Rodgers into the Cardinals team would make them a playoff team? I think you put Rodgers into any bad team, and I think that they'd be at least around a playoff team. Around a playoff team. Like, and it's evident with the Green Bay Packers because, I mean, me and Tango had talked about it a little bit, but I don't think that the Green Bay Packers are that good of a team. And and we'll talk about that game at the end of this because I felt really bad that I didn't get my predictions in for that game. But I would have predicted the Seahawks to win anyways because it's in Seattle. So, yeah, exactly, Dan. Imagine Rodgers and Larry Fitzgerald if they had been around together forever. Green Bay is in Wisconsin, Jack. And just so you guys know, I am going to start doing NBA streams. I'm probably going to do that starting next week. I think next week is going to be my first weekly NBA stream. I'm just going to talk about NBA weekly. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on from the butt kicking that Baltimore are going to hand Cincinnati. Like I said, take it to the bank. Take it to the bank because they are going to be pissed off. Pissed off because Baltimore have been struggling recently. And they're also coming off of a bye week. Teams coming off of bye weeks historically win games. Just don't bet the house, George. Don't bet the house. Please don't. I always say bet whatever spare money you got. So, but next up, we've got Tennessee at Indy, and Indy is a 2-point favorite. This is a really tough game to pick. Like, I wound up saying take Indy with the points, but Tennessee has been on fire recently because, I mean, they just beat New England, but here's the thing. Indy have been on fire too. Their defense has been stepping up, and at the end of the day, I'm going to take Indy's offense to beat Tennessee. I think Indy has got a good offense right now. Andrew Luck has come back from his injury very, very well, and I think that he is going to do well in this game, and I think Indy wins this. This was a tough game to pick, and I'll say that I will not be surprised if Tennessee wins this. Because, I mean, like Dan said, he's going to go with the Titans. I mean, Mariota's been on fire too. But end of the day, I've got to go with Indy. I've just got to go with Indy. So, like, it's part of it is because it's a home game. It's hard when a game is close to pick against the home team. And that's why I'm going to pick Indy. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to move on. We're going to move on to Houston at Washington, with Houston being a 3-point favorite. Houston are coming off of a bye week, guys. And like I said, end of the day, teams coming off bye weeks have a huge advantage. So I'm going to go Houston. Houston only being a -3. I'm taking Houston. I'm taking the points because I like them having Demaryius Thomas come in. It's going to be interesting to see the combo of Demaryius Thomas and DeAndre Hopkins. I was going to say DeAndre Ayton, DeAndre Hopkins. So Houston is going to take this game. And it's good. I do think it's going to be a close game because playing in Washington isn't going to be easy for a team that plays indoors. So I'm going to say Houston's going to win it, though, because I love what Deshaun Watson is doing with that team. Absolutely love it. And then, Jack, you asked, what do I prefer, American football or basketball? American football, because I'm also a season ticket holder for these guys. So I'm not a season ticket holder for the Suns. I go to games when I can. But it ultimately costs basically the same amount of money to go to an NBA game as it does to an NFL game. And there's only 16 NFL games. Pretty easy decision if you ask me. So we'll go ahead and we'll move on from this game. We're going to go to Tampa Bay at the New York Giants, with the New York Giants being a -1 favorite. Jack, I think that Steve Nash is the best shooter in NBA history. Maybe we'll talk about that on an NBA stream, but we're going to focus on the NFL here. So Tampa Bay at New York Giants, with New York Giants being a -1 favorite. This was a tough game to pick, but I'm going to pick Tampa Bay to come in to this game and upset the New York Giants in New York. I think that the New York Giants want to finish lower than they are probably going to inside of this season. I think that ultimately they've kind of hurt themselves with winning a couple of the games that they have, because I actually think the New York Giants really aren't a good team. They need to draft a quarterback, and they need to draft one high. So, Jack, the Glazers team is doing here's the thing. They're not doing, good in terms of their record, but they're fighting in every single game. So, I mean, at the end of the day, NFL comes down to who can have the better, who has the better quarterback. And right now, I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick, I like the guy, but he's never going to be the better quarterback typically than the guy that they're playing. And Jameis Winston has been an absolute bust of a draft pick. Sucks. But it happens. It happens. Yeah, Dan, I think that he will get another chance with another team, but I do think it's going to be really, really hard. I think it's going to be really hard for him to get another chance with another team because he's a head case. Teams don't want to have head cases. So, but guys, Tampa Bay, I think they're going to upset the Giants in this game. I really do. I think that the Giants are going to try everything they can. I mean, obviously both teams are going to try everything they can to win the game, but I think that Tampa is just – I've got this feeling that they're going to barely inch it out. I think it's going to be a close game no matter what, though. And like I was saying with the Tennessee and Indy game, I won't be surprised if either team wins this game. But ultimately, I'm going to go with Tampa Bay because Tampa Bay, I think, is just slightly better than the New York Giants are. So Tampa would be on a nice holiday. Yeah, Tampa Bay is a really nice place if you're going to go on holiday. Not going to lie. Just don't go there during hurricane season, please, for the love of God. So, Dan, I put Jameis Winston into more of a comparison with actually, you know what? That's a pretty fair comparison, but RG3 was more of a runner than Jameis Winston is. I mean, the only reason why I would probably compare Jameis Winston more in terms of the type of quarterback he is to a Donovan McNabb, but Donovan McNabb was obviously a very successful quarterback. So, yeah. And sorry, guys. End of the day, Tampa Bay, they're going to win this game, but it's going to be close. It's going to be close. So next up, we're going to move on to Pittsburgh at Jacksonville, with Pittsburgh being a 6-point favorite. This is a matchup from the playoffs last year where Jacksonville upset Pittsburgh. It was a crazy game in the playoffs. However, this is not the same Jacksonville team as last year. They're just not. Pittsburgh is going to come in and they're going to win this game. I think they're going to lose. They're going to win it by less than 6 points. But I think that the Steelers are going to be looking exactly like what Tango said. The Steelers are going to be looking for that payback. And honestly, the Steelers are crazy hot right now. I mean, crazy hot. So I don't see how anybody's going to pick against them. On your previous prediction show, how well have – so, George, I actually have done pretty well for the most part with all of my predictions. Last week was one of my more rough weeks, but the week before, I only missed one of my games. So, typically, I do pretty well in these. But once in a while, you get surprises. Once in a while. Jack, we'll answer that at the end. But not really. Not really. So, sorry about that, guys. So, I think Pittsburgh is going to come into this game against Jacksonville. They're going to be looking for that revenge. I think that their offense is just going to beat the crap out of this Jacksonville defense, which is just not the same as last year. You got Jalen Ramsey, who's all of a sudden turned into a nutcase, talking about how like his team's better than all teams. They just don't show up every week. And I'm like, yeah. Like, it's because you're not that good. I think you got lucky last year. So, ooh, that seems like a good game, Jack. So, yeah, Pittsburgh, take them to win the game. Don't take the points, but take them to win the game. Because I think that Pittsburgh has just got that taste for revenge right now. But we're going to move on to Denver at the Los Angeles Chargers, with the Chargers being a 7-point favorite. And, guys, the Chargers are low-key having one of the better seasons in the NFL this year. Not a lot of people are talking about them, and you want to know why? Because they moved from San Diego like dumbasses. Like, I think that the Chargers are going to win this game by the 7 points, but the sad part is, at the end of the day, nobody cares. That's what you get for moving. That is what you get for moving. And I'm going to be happy to see the Chargers win the game because I actually like the Chargers team a little bit. But I don't get why you left San Diego. I just don't. Like, why? Sorry. I don't like the whole relocation thing, guys. I just don't. When you talk about a certain point favorite, you mean they're predicted to win the game by. So yeah, George, when I'm talking about like the point spread like this, so great example. So in this game, the Chargers are a -7. Basically, what it's saying is in terms of betting odds, that the Chargers will be getting 7 points taken away from them. And that would mean that they would then have to win that game by more than 7 points in order to win the bet, if that makes any sense. But it's not how like the game obviously turns out. So, yeah. What team do I hate most in the NFL? I hate the Seahawks most in the NFL. Hate them. Like, we've got a rivalry with them, the Cardinals do. So, I'd say probably a very close second would be the Dallas Cowboys. But, I mean, Cowboys are one of those teams you either love or you hate. So, Dan, how do you hate the Saints? I get that they're a good team and they're in your division, but, like, the Saints are kind of a likable team. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I think that since Greg Roman left, it's kind of hard not to like him, you know? Yeah, Jack, I agree. It's ridiculous how teams can just move in the NFL. I don't like it. I don't like it. But anyways, guys, let's get back to talking about this game. Denver just aren't a good team this year. They made a horrible decision in taking Case Keenum as their quarterback, and they need to draft a rookie. They need to draft a good quarterback. But the sad part is they're just good enough that they're not going to get one of the top quarterbacks unless they trade up, which is also a place where the Cardinals will be in an advantage because the Cardinals are really only going to finish with about, I would say, 3 to 5 wins, somewhere in there, which means they're probably going to be inside of those top 5 draft picks. The Cardinals don't need a quarterback. We've got our quarterback of the future, which means we're going to be able to trade back, get more picks, and we're going to put ourselves in an advantageous position going forward, which is good. I hate playing against. Yeah, hey, you know what, Dan? And that's fair. I think that the Seahawks are probably the same for a lot of people, but I just don't like that the Seahawks are kind of like Chelsea, if you guys want to put it into like football terms. So like Chelsea is a team that they all of a sudden became good because of money. Now in the NFL, you don't really become good because of money, but they all of a sudden became good, and all of a sudden all these bandwagon fans just jumped on there. It just sucks. Yeah, Jack, I go to every single game no matter what. And I was actually going to do a live watch along this Sunday with you guys, but I remember that I have a game that I'm going to, so I wouldn't be able to even do an hour of the watch along before I left for the game. So we'll do a watch along next week. Chelsea or City. Exactly, George. Exactly. So, and Dan, exactly. When the Legion of Boom was like first becoming a thing, they were that team that everybody was jumping on the bandwagon. Everybody. So, I mean, I can't stand them. But we're going to move on to my game that's coming up of Oakland at Arizona, with Arizona being a 5-point favorite. I think the Cardinals are going to win this game because, like I said before, Oakland do not want to win right now. They don't want to win because they want to get the highest draft pick that they possibly can. And they also are going to have a lot of draft picks this year. Very high ones, too. I don't think that any of the teams they've made trades with for draft picks, other than the Bears, are going to make the playoffs. But the Bears also gave up 3 first-round draft picks for Khalil Mack. Yikes. So, yeah, Dan, I agreed. Oakland won that first overall pick for sure. But Arizona, I think they're going to take this game. I'm not going to take them to win by 5. I think it's going to be closer than that. Both these teams are struggling, but I think it's going to be between like a 3 to 6 point game. I know we're a 5-point favorite, but that's the reason why with me thinking about a 3-point game, I'm just going to take Arizona to win the game. Arizona's we're a decent team. Our defense really showed up against Kansas City. So I think that we're going to show up again, and let's see how this game goes. This could be a really fun game. It could be a really fun game against 2 teams that really aren't like that good. You throw the quotes around it because I think all NFL teams are good. Just there's some teams that have slightly better talent. But the Cardinals right now are dealing with a lot of injuries, a lot of offensive line injuries at that. But yeah, what sport of all the ones you've been to spectate do you other supporters care about most? Would George, that's a hell of a question. Let me think about that for the rest of the stream because I've only got 3 more picks here. But anyways, guys, take Arizona to win. And I'm gonna, like I said, I think Arizona will win this game because Oakland ultimately want to get the highest draft pick they possibly can. So we're gonna move on to Philly at New Orleans, with New Orleans being a 9-point favorite. So Philly's been struggling this year, but I think that they're a better team than what their struggles have shown. I'm not saying Philly's gonna win this game though, because New Orleans is going to win it. New Orleans is one of the best teams of the NFL. They just added Brandon Marshall, which that's going to make for a very, very interesting game for him. I think that Drew Brees is going to love having a guy like Brandon Marshall that literally the ball just vacuums into his hands. And he's already got Mike Thomas, but you talk about having Brandon Marshall, Mike Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram. I mean, yeah. It's going to be a rough one. Jay Ajayi is a hell of a running back, Jack. He really is. He's down with an ACL tear this year, which really sucks. So, anyways, New Orleans, they're going to win this game. They're going to wind up being a number 1 or number 2 seed, guaranteed. And honestly, New Orleans is going to be a scary, scary team when they get to the playoffs because they're starting to click on all cylinders. Look out for them. Look out for them. Yeah, Dan, unfortunately, Dez is done for the rest of the year. I'd be inclined to take on the Eagles for that one. Yeah, Tango, I get that. I get that, but at the same time, this isn't the Philadelphia Eagles team from last year. They just don't have that same hype. If they had the same hype as last year, I would probably be more willing to say that Philly could upset them. But New Orleans, they're playing on another level right now. They really are. So. Yeah, Dan, there really is. There's about 5 or 6 potential Super Bowl teams this year. Very rare that you get that. Normally, it's only like 3 or 4. So, I mean, there's all the way up to 8 potential Super Bowl teams. All of them are fighting, too. So, we're going to move on to Minnesota at Chicago, with Chicago being a 2.5-point favorite. Guys, I'm picking Minnesota to go into Chicago and upset Chicago. It wasn't an easy decision because I like the Chicago Bears. But at the end of the day, I've just got this inkling that Minnesota is going to take this thing. I think the Bears have been riding a hot streak, and they haven't been playing the greatest of competition. They're going to come up against a Minnesota team that is very, very good. Obviously, Minnesota haven't been living up to all of their standards, but I think Minnesota's going to take this, guys. I really do. So, who do you think the Super Bowl teams will be? So Tango, the Patriots and Steelers couldn't be in the Super Bowl together because they're from the same conference. But we'll talk about that a little bit later too, because I've only got one more game after this one. But yeah, guys, so I'm picking Minnesota to upset Chicago. I don't know why, but the Vikings are a good team. They've got great talent. And just don't be surprised if they go in and they handle this thing. I think they could do it. Let's just watch. Let's watch and see. So, going to move on to our Monday night game, last game of the week. Kansas City at the Los Angeles Rams. And this is the first time in a while we've had a good Monday night game. Guys, Los Angeles Rams are a 3.5-point favorite, and I don't understand how. Because Kansas City's taking this game, baby! Kansas City! They're taking it! They're taking it! Sorry. Shh. Calm down. I'm just kidding. No, Kansas City, guys. Kansas City are going to take this. They're going to take it. Kansas City is hot. The Rams, they've been struggling. I mean, honestly, the Rams don't really have much of a support base. They don't. And Kansas City's going to go in there, and they're going to do what they're going to do, and they're going to take them. They're going to take down the Rams. F the Rams. I hate them. I hate them, too, because I hate teams that just go in and they buy their success like the Rams are trying to do. Kansas City are going to take it, guys. They're going to take it. They're going to win. They're going to blow out the Rams. I don't know if they're going to blow out the Rams, but they're going to blow out the Rams. They're going to blow them out. They're going to do it. Sorry, guys. Try not to have a heart attack over here. But anyway, so we're going to go. That's the last game of the week, guys. So we're going to there was a couple of questions that I wanted to answer. So Tango asked, who do I think the Super Bowl will be? So my predicted Super Bowl for right now, based on nobody getting hurt, nothing like that, is going to be the New Orleans Saints against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think that's going to be a hell of a Super Bowl because it's going to be very, very offensive and very fun. Very, very fun. And then George, blowing Rams is illegal in England. No, but it's legal in Wales. Just ask Ash, right? Just kidding, Ash. I love you, buddy, if you're watching this. I think that Kansas City and the Saints are going to go in there, and I think it's going to be a hell of a Super Bowl too. That's my predicted Super Bowl for right now, with no injuries happening, nothing happening. And I think it's going to be a fun game. That'll be a fun Super Bowl to watch. It might not be the Super Bowl that the NFL will want because it's not going to have the ratings or the teams that they're going to want. But I mean, guys, if they lose, then they lose. It is what it is. Luckily, I'm not trying to make a living off of making predictions. I'm just talking about games and how I think they're going to go. So, how do you know it is that no, it's illegal? Jack, I don't know. So Dan's going Rams and Kansas City. I could see that one too. Rams and Patriots would be another decent one. But I think that New Orleans is going to beat the Rams. They already did it once. They're going to do it again. I'm telling you, they will do it again. So, and then the last question, which was a hell of a question from George. Which sport do I think has the most? I think basically what he's trying to say is who has the most passionate fan base. From what I saw, from my time when I went to Manchester United and saw how things went there, being at Cardinals games and seeing how those go, being at Phoenix Rising games, seeing how those go, being at NBA games, I've been to every single sport. And I honestly believe that the best sport and the most passionate fan bases that I saw from what I've seen, this is again from what I've seen, comes from, and you guys are gonna be surprised by this, American football. And here's the reason why. It goes between college and professional. You cannot convince me that if you guys watch an NFL game or a college football game, watch when your team is on defense and listen to how loud it is. People are screaming the entire game while the other team is on offense to try and make sure that the offense can't hear the plays called, can't hear what's going on. And honestly, in college football especially, college football is just another level. College football is just another level of you could have almost 120,000 people at some of these stadiums all screaming for one team while the other team is on defense or while their team is on offense. It really can get kind of crazy. And I've been there, and I've literally left with my ears ringing. Like I was basically like, in just case you guys don't know, here in the States, we are able to have our own firearms. I own quite a few firearms, and I've shot guns without earplugs in. It's basically like I shot a gun with no earplugs in, and my ears just ring and ring and ring. It's crazy. It is crazy when you go to an NFL game. Mark, I mean, I haven't, but like, Jack, I would honestly say that college games are more passionate than NFL games because you're typically not getting, like, in college football, you're not getting teams that are coming, like players that are coming in to support like the other team. You're more just getting one specific fan base. And I would say it's a lot more like a college football game is a lot more like a football match and a world football match where like when you go to a Manchester United game, like great example, when a Newcastle game, the Newcastle fans had their own little section, and that happens a lot. Basically, the other team will come in and they get their own section. But you talk about, you go to like a University of Alabama game, you go to a University of Michigan game, you go to any of these like big time colleges. Imagine having arms of fire. Funny. But like just there's something about a college football atmosphere that is just absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. But anyways, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. We had almost 10 people watching live for my NFL stream. Next week, we are going to do an NFL watch-along because the Cardinals have an away game. I figure we can watch a game together next week. As long as you guys are interested, we will do an NFL watch-along next week, and we'll talk about the game. I'll try and educate you guys if you have any questions because, like I said, I want to bring this sport – I want to bring all sports to everybody. So, yeah, and then, guys, just so you know, Tango Gaming, who's also Linton Gum on Twitter, he will be joining me next week for my preview and review of the NFL. So, guys, again, thank you so much for joining me. You know, I feel blessed to have you guys all here. Be sure to drop a like on the video if you like it. And, guys, I'm excited to watch this week's games of the NFL. Have a great night, a great day. God bless you guys and keep doing you because, guys, you are awesome. Love you guys.